Everybody. Okay. All right, we're going to open this up with what's your guys' favorite memory from the village of Elida or the community of Elida?
The fellowship. Everybody knew everybody.
Okay.
The football game untied and scored on with Sherrick, 1946.
You want to tell a little bit more about that, Cleo?
No, I don't remember. They always said it was untied, unscored upon, and he had a good record.
Okay, how about we open up with this too, just to introduce all you guys. We'll start with Cleo, and then can you guys tell me your name and the year that you guys graduated? Start with Cleo, and then go around.
I'm Cleo Sherrick Kruse, graduated in 1947.
All right, next.
Betty Foust Paul, and I graduated in 1950.
All right, next.
Helen Thomas. I graduated in 1950.
Judy John Strayer, 1957.
I'm Edna Holtzapple, Alspaugh, and I graduated in 49.
Alrighty, what's your guys' favorite memory from high school then? We'll start with Cleo and go around. Or what memory sticks out the most, I guess I should say.
Cheerleading with me.
You had to raise your hand to go to the bathroom and get a drink of water. That was one of the things. And
What about your Washington, D.C. trip?
what?
Your Washington, D.C. trips?
Oh, yeah. Washington, D.C. trip. Yeah, that was good. And being able to be a cheerleader for 4 years, I enjoyed that very much.
All right, next.
Well, we'd go in the restroom down in the basement, open the window to smoke.
That was your favorite memory?
That was just a memory. It wasn't my favorite.
A memory that sticks out, right?
That's what I wanted to hear. Exactly. Real life. Yeah.
You met Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. Did he go to Elida also?
Yes.
Okay.
He graduated with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't give my maiden name. My maiden name was Helen Dunahay Thomas. And my favorite memory is being in the band and being able to go places with them.
And your mom and dad had the restaurant down
Yes,
there.
and my
They
mother
had,
and dad, and we would run down to the restaurant at noon, and Mr. Swank would let me out of school so I could go down and work in the restaurant.
Okay, I didn't graduate from Elida. I was born
Shame
here.
on you.
Okay.
I graduated from Gomer Tech. That's the best. And Troy, do you want to leave? My memory was my girlfriend, Barbara Lynn Baxter, had the dancing school. We were smoking cigarettes on the Methodist church steps.
we at least didn't smoke at church.
No. And Gay Foust called Becky and told her.
They had a boundary.
Oh, we used to have biology class down in the basement, and we could open the window and crawl out the window and sit out in the yard till class was over and crawl back in the window again. Didn't learn a darn thing.
We were all good people.
Still are.
Yeah.
Now, did any of you guys venture up into the bell tower at all or not?
I remember getting called to the office with my friend Jane Basinger. Halloween time, they knew who soaked the windows, so we got out of study hall and had to clean the windows on the school. I had my fun at Halloween.
Alrighty, so what about the history of this building? The building that we're in right now, the Enslin building. Any memories or anything of note to add on about this building while we're in here right now, guys?
We always ran through Enslins. We went home for, well, it was my home. My mother and dad had the restaurant. And we'd go down to the restaurant and then we'd run through Enslins on the way back to school. So
I'd come in the back door, get ice cream cone and go out the front door. The ice cream parlor was right over there. Yeah.
Okay.
And the candy counter was over there too.
And
The candy counter was over there too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was all candy.
And this was over here was material
Yeah, I got
and
it.
shoes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember it well.
I used to like to come down here for lunch. I'd come down and get me a can of pop and a filled stick. Best filled stick in town. We're the only ones.
The floors were bare wood, but they had oil on them. They were oiled floor store, and they had to be cleaned special.
Wow, that's cool.
They're all covered up now, but they're
Yeah.
there.
So what about the apartments upstairs? Were those always apartments that are upstairs? They were? Okay. I was wondering about that
Usually,
too.
Bachelor teacher that taught at Elida and would rent it.
Oh, okay.
Mom, wasn't there a story that back at the back part of the building, there was like, didn't Grandpa have a repair shop or something back there? Bob was telling me.
Repaired shoes, yeah.
No, like cars or something.
Yeah, there
used to be.
Okay,
Well, that was just right on the other side of this building.
right.
Yeah, it was Kruse service. They repaired the cars, yeah. That was the only one in Elida at that time.
Mm. That's cool.
when we first
I
moved
used
to
to be able to go
Elida,
down the street.
there was a filling station. Kruse's had a filling station on one corner, and
Red Homes.
Red Homes had a filling station where the beauty shop is, and Enslin, and the post office was on the other corner.
Well, before Cruces had that, my family had it. My mom and dad and my grandparents had the corner over there. It was a filling station, a grocery store, and a restaurant.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
Wow. Do you have any old pictures?
I have a picture somewhere of my mom and my brother in the restaurant.
Okay.
Mm.
I haven't found it yet.
I've got a picture of my dad in,
Yeah.
what was it, Isabel and, yeah, in their restaurant.
Izzy, Dory, and Carrie.
Yeah.
They had a sister Carrie.
Oh, the
Didn't have one Zoe too? Was Zoe?
Dick, well, Dick was, one of the girls' sons, yeah.
Yeah.
The oldest girl, I can't think.
I don't think Izzy and Dory were married, were they?
I remember when Isabel was in the big brick house, in their big brick house down on the other side of where the chiropractor is now.
Yeah, they used to
And
live
Isabel
there.
lived in, okay, I remember Isabel being there. When Dave's Donuts had the little trailer where the Rooster Stand eventually ended up
Yeah.
being. I remember her working in there.
Okay.
That had to be in the early sixties maybe, late sixties.
We used to have a Mennonite church. I don't know where
Right
I'm
It
down
was
there,
right
the
on the
bank
other
is-
side of the bank.
On the other side of the bank.
Okay,
Yeah, on Main Street, yeah.
must've been a while ago
Yeah, there's
too.
a
There was
picture
4
back there.
churches in Elida.
Hello.
Okay, you guys might not remember, but I've been doing some research on the Pioneer Picnic.
Oh, yeah.
You guys got some, all right, if you guys are, I encourage you guys to share some stories and memories.
The Pioneer Picnic was on Pioneer Road, and it was in the woods, and the churches all come in and brought dinners for people to buy. And there was a few rides, and it cost you a nickel, and you could get your picture taken. And it was just a fun day for the family to come and enjoy one another. Yeah.
Anybody else got anything?
That was about what you saying?
Okay.
Pioneer Picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why'd they stop doing it? Do you know?
Well,
Probably
the town
you guys
grew
were
so
too cheap.
fast, yeah. And nobody wanted to come to that. They wanted something bigger to go to. Yeah,
Yeah, the war probably
yeah,
could have stopped a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. Because the last one was in 1942, I believe, from research that I've done. Don't quote me on that date, though, but yeah.
Do any of you remember the
The
Elida Candy
Elida
Company?
band
Elida Candy
started,
Company?
and that was one of their first trips was to the Pioneer Picnic.
That's cool. All right, I'm going to reiterate on what Judy just said, but does any one of you remember the Elida Candy Company?
Candy Company.
It was the two-story block building down here on Main Street.
Where your restaurant used to
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
for the candy company.
I don't think so.
But it didn't last too long at that time.
We've got a calendar from what, 1939?
Yeah, or 36 or 39, something like that.
Maybe some of you might remember that the Grange used to be in Elida.
Oh,
That
yes.
used to be over
Is
here.
where the fire station is now.
I remember that.
The American Grange was there on a hill.
Every Saturday night they'd have square dancing, and somebody
Square
would come in
dancing.
and call the dancers. And I'd sit on a chair and watch them, because we were little, but our parents loved to square dance.
Yeah.
So as I grew older, I learned to square dance and really enjoyed it. Yeah.
We'd sit across the street at Springer's where it was a
Yeah.
cement wall, a block wall, and we, as kids, we'd sit there and watch what was going on across the street. Wasn't supposed to, but I run down the alley and
Yeah, I remember I used to be able to go up and down the streets and name everybody that lived in the houses and whether they had kids and how many and,
I could too, I could name everybody on Main Street.
yep, you can't do it anymore.
yeah.
I made a list of everybody that lived in Elida at that time, and it's supposed to be in the lockbox in the bank under Elida Church. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Lutheran church? Or which church are you talking about?
Elida Emmanuel.
Okay.
It was the
Okay.
Elida Brethren.
Okay.
But I wrote everybody's name down. It was over 400. And it's supposed to be kept in a lockbox there.
And I had a list of all the ministers for the Brethren Church.
Yeah.
And
I
I think I give them to you.
No, they didn't come to me, but they asked me if I could add to it. And I couldn't remember a few in between, so I was no help.
Yeah, it was fun days though, growing up here in Elida.
Oh, I'm glad I grew up here.
I am too.
I am too.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays don't know what fun is. All they have is their little hand computers and messing with them things, and you're trying to talk to them and they're just oblivion to what we're trying to tell them.
Do you remember when they used to play kick the can at night?
Oh, yeah.
I was just gonna tell that.
Yeah.
Draw a circle around my back, somebody punch it just like that, yeah. We played, the kids in our street, we had a lot of them, and we were out every night, but when it came 9 o'clock, you better be home. Yeah, better have your homework done.
Okay, something else I've been doing some study on here as of late for the cemetery tour binder that I'm working on. Do you guys remember when Pop Prince was killed?
Yes,
Yes.
it's right across the street from me.
Yeah, I was pregnant for him.
I remember that.
So do you guys want to, like,
Asa Wright came in. We lived on Sunnydale and Asa came, she lived right across the street from where we lived and she came to tell us about Pop Prince.
do you guys want to tell me a little bit about that story too? Like-
I walked there and could see him laying on the ground.
Oh,
Till they-
wow.
Oh, yeah. Till they came and declared everything and got all the information. And it's been wrote up many times in all the newspapers. And it's in the history here, yeah. Pop Prince was a man of integrity to help children, to help kids have fun. And he was a great athletic person. He pushed his kids to go to school and play basketball and football. He was a great man to serve Elida. Yep.
So I know I was talking with Cleo about this earlier, but did all of you guys know Orlo Enslin?
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to talk about him a little bit on the video too?
He was
Any-
in the grocery store.
Yeah.
He was very friendly.
Was he?
Very friendly and helped you find what you wanted.
Bald head. I can just remember he had a bald head.
Now,
In the V, when you go to Main Street and you turn off, they live down there on that street. Yeah.
The third house.
so around that time when you guys were all growing up, then this was a grocery store. It wasn't a health food store.
It was a grocery.
It was a grocery store. Okay. Okay.
Hey, you could buy bread and milk and that. It was smaller than what they had to offer than Strayer's, but they were accommodating for people going through and everything. Yeah.
So what other businesses do you guys remember throughout the community back during your guys' time growing up?
Well, there was Stur's Market down the street, and there was 2 doctor's offices. Dr. Toot, do you remember Dr.
Oh,
Toot?
yes.
And Dr. Epstein.
Dr. Toot brought me into the world.
Did he?
Shame on him.
Dr. Epstein, if you wanted pills for something, you could go and knock on his back door and he, or his nurse, Florence, would come and,
Oh, said if you broke your arm, you could go to him and he'd set your arm, put it in a cast and send you home. Now you gotta go to a specialist and have this looked at and have that looked at. And they just don't know much, I guess.
Mom, you wanna tell them that your grandpa was Fred Tippett, the blacksmith? You have that in town.
well, there's no one here that probably even knows what a blacksmith is.
I do.
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
well, yeah, these guys.
I do.
Fred Tippett.
I remember.
Fred Tippett, yeah.
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 He also drove school bus.
Okay.
Wasn't he a football coach or something too? Or not?
He was a member of the UB church too. Yeah, Fred Tippett was.
Did Fred have a horse?
Yes, he did. I can't remember that
Was it
horse's name.
was
My
it
mom
Rusty?
about killed him when he got that horse.
I think his name was
Ivy.
Rusty.
Ivy, I think the
Oh, was it?
horse's
Okay.
name was Ivy.
I remember him getting loose a couple times in the volunteer fire department, having to go
Yeah,
put him back on.
yeah.
Betty, you want to share then about how Elida became to be the Bulldogs was through Fred, if I remember right. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
he raised
Okay,
him,
that's it.
and that's how they. He was such a person to promote school activities.
Well, if I remember the history, Fred donated bought the used uniforms from another school, donated them to Elida for that first football team. Am I telling that story right?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, and so in turn then, by Fred donating the uniforms and he raised Bulldogs, that's how Elida became Bulldogs.
Oh.
Yep.
While we're back on the school story again too, this one's a little bit more recent, so say, but you guys remember when Roger Kraft passed away?
Yes. I remember that.
Were any of you, I'm assuming,
That's how the Kraft Stadium got named. Yeah.
I remember the boys used to have those cherry,
Cherry bombs.
yes, and they'd stick them down the register. blow up. Oh, nobody ever knew who did it. You could stand right there and watch them, but if anybody in the office said, well, who done that? We didn't know.
I remember down in the basement, part of it, yeah, very well, much.
Alrighty. Well, do you guys have anything else you guys would like to say?
It's a great place to live and grow up. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask real quick too before I close. What do you guys think of the museum?
Oh, it's great.
I like it.
This is great to have a museum. I never thought that would ever happen. Yeah. Or we'd be in it, huh? We used to roller skate down the middle of the street. And when my parents found out, we got our roller skates taken away from us for 2 weeks. That was for our own good, but it was more fun skating in the street than it was on the sidewalk, because the sidewalks were bumpy, and you hit a bump and down you went.
What did you guys think about the fire department when the engine came out and the guys were getting pulled onto the back trying to get dressed?
Yeah, we have all volunteers, and Clyde Strayer, he ran, and whoever was there took over, or else he locked it up till he come back from the fire. Yeah. Several of them lived right next door to us on my street. And when the siren ran, you could see them all go running down the alleys and everything to be the first one there. Yeah. It was something.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'm glad we grew up when we did. Instead of growing up now, we had a great childhood.
And I'm glad you guys are here now to share it too. To share the
We
fond
are
memories.
Yeah, we're glad to
Now you better get while we're here,
Yeah.
because the days are numbered.
So Cleo, real quick too, this question's directed toward you, but what made you put all the books together? What was the reason behind it? I'm just curious.
Well, in the Quad Centennial in 2003, the whole town was involved, and everybody did something. But I went around and took all the pictures of the businesses, and I ended up with history of everybody, and I put them in albums, and they ended up in the mayor's office, and they were there for years in a box, and they wondered what they were going to do with them. And so this is how the museum got started. Yeah.
Glad you did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad I did it. The Holtzapple's hatchery, Strayer's market, and Strayer's plumbing and heating. There was a lot of little businesses that grew and promoted and made a living off of it. Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for coming, guys, and
Yeah.
just thanks for being part of this.